Hi, everybody. It's Holly Burns. Welcome to Consciousness Coaching number 10. Why would souls leave the earth at a super young age? Why would they come here and live a couple of days? Or why would they leave when they're at the prime of their lives and they have everything going with them? So let's get into it. I have gotten a lot of questions asked me from my clients through the years of why a certain person left the earth when they did. And since I speak with the dead, I can ask them. So I compiled some of the answers they've given me, along with some other things that I've also had correlations with from other people that do this kind of work. So let's get into it. The first reason why souls might want to leave the earth plane really early is because they come here to be in service to others. Many times when a soul lives for only a few days and dies, that was something agreed to by the soul before they incarnated in that incarnation. And they knew that it was a very high likelihood that that life would not continue on. Sometimes it does, though, so they have to be ready to have the whole life. But they're told that the odds are very great that they probably won't have a long life at all. And souls sign up for those particular jobs because it gets them higher growth rates as souls in between their lives. And so many times it's a service life because the reason why they come for such a short time is to convey love to someone else on the planet and also to trigger the other person's journey. A lot of times you'll see a parent, if they lose a child, they will have a huge motivation after that to do work having to do with the same subject matter that happened to their child. Like take Mrs. Wetterling, Jacob Wetterling's mother. Jacob was, for those of you who don't know, he was kidnapped when he was about 12 years old from a little town, Jordan, Minnesota, very close to the Minneapolis area as well. So all of us in Minneapolis know about who they are. And she started the Jacob Wetterling Foundation and did a whole lot for sex offenders and laws and things like that, and has been working the whole rest of her life since the disappearance and death of Jacob. So this is many times what happens. It kind of becomes like a catalytic event, and bam, boom, their whole trajectory changes and off they go with what they had previously planned. I'm just telling you generically, that can be the case, just to clarify. The other thing is to trigger great growth in somebody else around them besides their parents as well. Another reason can be to incur a sickness or something like that, where there's a lot of people working on the same problem on the planet and they need victims so they can help them. So that doctor can work with those children with pre-life soul contracts. They all working together to be able to come up with the cure for that issue. So the children are helping just as much as the doctor is helping the world to come up with that cure. Another thing that I've had told to me several times, this happens a lot with people that are like in their mid 30s and maybe their mid 20s. This is a really common thing I'm getting now. A sudden car accident, boom, they're already here. A sudden sickness, they're gone. The reason why a lot of souls are very surprisingly leaving the planet at the prime of their lives or a very young age also is because they're compacting several lives together that are all continuation. What they do is they don't have a reason to have to take an 80-year life. They are taking like 4 lives in a row. Most of the time it's at least 3. Most of the time it's 3 lives in a row where they have a compacted assignment, but it's 3 lives long. The assignment isn't for an entire lifetime, an entire lifetime, an entire lifetime. It's for the result that they get from doing a quick turnaround. So they'll come, they'll compact what they're supposed to do, and once they get it done, they'll tell me, "Well, I'm working on helping the earth with the great awakening." It's always the subject of the great awakening of the planet. And these people have a certain timeline in place. So they're like, "Okay, I'm going to be such and such in 60 years or 70 years down the road when this has happened. And in order to have this happen, I'm going to help now with the Great Awakening so I can accelerate the ascension of the planet." And so I'm going to come and I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to help all these people and I'm going to raise the vibration of the planet by contributing in this way to the planet. Then I'm going to jump out and I'm going to come back again. And I'm going to do something else that's really concentrated and really impactful on the planet. And then I'm going to come back a third time and I'm going to have a super long life. On my third time around, I'm going to have like, I'm going to be here 100 years. And the first two are kind of the setup for that last life. So it's like a cycle back around and a cycle back around so that the ascension of the planet will be lined up with their personal mission that they have. So maybe they're going to be revolutionary people working in the area of vibrational health and wellness. Maybe they want to be here when we can regrow all of our limbs or something like that. And they're like, okay, this is so cool. So I have to be ready for that. So I have to get my consciousness ready and I have to help the world get to that level. And so it's like a very particular timeline where they jump in and out of a couple of lives in a row. So that can be a really big reason why people that just don't make sense to you, why they just were so on it. They had everything, they were just smart, smart as a whip, had a great family going, husband and two kids, those people can be leaving because of that reason. It doesn't make any sense to us back here. It can be that reason a lot of the time. That they're high level souls also. Those people are usually high level souls that have accepted the mission. And so they just know they're just very concentrated on their mission and then off they go. Off they go, off they go. Because right now we are in the precipice of the Great Awakening. They wanted me to tell you that. All the collective souls that I've just been talking about wanted to say, and tell them that it's because now is the really important time of the Great Awakening. Yes, it is the very important time of the Great Awakening right now. 2025 through 2030 is going to be some of the hugest years that we've ever had on this planet. And that's for another video. So we'll get into that at a different video. You can see my Great Awakening update series for that. So the next reason can be that they get bonus points from special assignments. They're asked to do special particular things that don't require a lot of time. So like, can you jump in? Can you do this one thing? Like make sure this person hears you say this, okay, I'm going to make sure I do that because this person's really working on transcending this certain thing and they want to work on vulnerability. Can you be there, go in there and be best friends with them for like 5 years and work really hard together and he'll accomplish this and you'll accomplish that. And you're like, yeah, I can do that special assignment. And so, or they're like, can you be in this certain place at this certain time? Because we need someone to be right there. So when this happens, this makes world news. Yeah, I can do that. So it's stuff like that. And when they take those special assignments, they do earn, most of the time, they are offered back, like I said, some bonus accolades. They call it brownies. I think they say brownie points, I think. Michael Newton's book, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls, he talks about how they're offered more brownie points for taking these special assignment lives. Their souls do grow faster and transcend through levels. Because on the other side, we have like a soul system where they don't call it levels, but we do change our color, which goes through the rainbow. When we start out, we're clear, and then we go to a light orange, then we go into the darker oranges and darker reds, and then we move into the purples and the indigos and the blues, and then we go to the greens. And that's what color our aura is when we are on the other side. And our system of how we change color has to do with our vibrational frequency. So that's a whole system in between our lives that we have. So down on Earth, we connect to that. What we do on Earth affects our vibrational frequency up there. So after we're dead, we might be a whole different frequency than when we started the lifetime. We might have started off as a light red, and now after we die, we might be glowing a dark red. So another reason can be that Earth is really difficult for some souls to deal with. I get a lot of star seeds that are people that most of the time incarnate on other planets, and they're having a really difficult time with everything on Earth. The three-dimensionality of Earth can be really hard for them to deal with because, first of all, our atmosphere is very dense, and so they're like, everything I do takes more physical exertion. I'm not used to having all this on my body, which makes me feel sicker. I'm more tired. I'm more exhausted because in other planets, they might be able to jump 10 feet high really super easily. All the frequencies are so different here, so it really affects their physical shell because the flora and fauna is different, which makes vibrations because everything alive vibrates. And so those are frequencies being emitted. And so all that different scientific stuff can make them feel a lot different from their homeland. And they're not from there. We're all from the same place, but we choose to incarnate different places. And so they might be souls that most often incarnate on a different planet. And so they're just kind of trying out the whole Earth thing. And so that can be a big thing for them. And a lot of people have trouble with the societal issues. They're so different here. We feel so much more pain on Earth because we have such a wide range of emotions to choose from. So everything about Earth can be really hard. I call it earthing. I'll tell my client a lot of times, well, you're just having trouble earthing. And they're like, yeah, you're so right. I so am. I'm like, yep, yep, yep. I get it. So that's a thing that sometimes they can have shorter lives because they're getting used to earthing. And sometimes a person can only stand it for like 15 years. Oh, I get that a lot of time. The younger souls just said, remember to tell them that. Yeah. So a lot of times the younger souls that head out when they're teenagers, they'll tell me, I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just really hard for me to do earthing. Like my body could only take it for so many years. I just had to get a taste of earth. And then I'm ready to come back for a longer incarnation next time around. Like and a lot of times people say, well, if a lot of times when people die in their 40s and 50s, they'll tell me, okay, now I'm ready. The next time I come around, I'm going to live a really long life because I'll be ready for it then. I can handle it then. So that's a big thing as well. Oh, it might be their first incarnation. Yep, that's a thing too. Might be their first. I get that a lot. They'll be like, I was just coming in to kind of test the waters. So we don't. They want me to tell you the collective consciousness just said. Just tell them that not every life is planned to be a long life. Like we don't need to be here 80 years every time to call it a success. It's just not like that. It's just kind of we're coming and going for lessons. I think you can understand that. The soul finds that the body or the circumstance is incompatible. And that can happen. I've read about that in Michael Newton's books, Journey of Souls, that sometimes the wiring of the human brain and the human body did not meld well with the soul. The soul came in, and the soul's like, "Oh no, no, I just don't do this apparatus. This does not feel right. It's not a good match." If upon agreement by their guides and the higher self, they can decide to give that soul an exit point and hop out, and then they, try it again. Also, more advanced souls will take those types of lives where they come in, they get an intense experience, like a very sick illness or, a really bad hardship, a difficulty, for purposes of sometimes they come just to increase the vibration of the planet because they have super high vibration. They also come for very specific missions, and the higher level souls do a lot of that because they can handle the transition back to the other side and coming to Earth quickly and going back to the other side. And they also like to have the missions because they care more about the service to others than they do about their own accolades because they've gone through the growth. They're at the top level where they're almost spirit guide level or spirit guide level souls, and they don't need to improve themselves. So they come to help others improve. And so they take on a lot of those roles around us as well. A short life can be just as meaningful as a long one. So, you could have a 3-day life and it could be just as meaningful for the souls involved or more. They said, yeah, because, some of the people left behind would be way more affected by a soul coming and going that quickly sometimes than if they lived to be really old because they never got to experience that with that life, with that person. And that really, really bothers them greatly. And it triggers a whole different trajectory than they thought they'd be on. And so hopefully that can help you guys understand that a little bit more and help you stay more in alignment when you feel that sword through your heart about something that happened to somebody on Earth. Maybe we can keep our vibrations high from having a deeper understanding of some of those reasons. Thank you so much for watching.